Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Another Fat Batch production.
Well, the Origin sides have been named. Game 1 next Wednesday night at Suncorp. It's their favourite time of the year north of the Twin Towns roundabout. The lips have been licked this week and the whistles are wet. Let's go to Queensland. Morning, boys.
Well, I'm trying to just work my way around one of those statements that were made. I dare not put it back on there. No.
Well, hang on a minute.
I'll leave.
Officially, hang on. The lips have been licked, meaning you and Alfred have licked your lips because Origin time, that time of the year, you got your teams in, and the whistles are wet.
Sharky, I do apologise. I've taken that the wrong way completely, which is unusual for me. I do apologise. That's very rare on my behalf.
There could be a relationship drawn here between both statements. So you're not entirely wrong.
But, yeah, look, Origin is, it means a terrible lot to this side of the roundabout at Tweed. Don't know if it means a lot down over the other side. That I'm not certain of. And to be perfectly honest, don't really give a shit. But
in answer to your question, no.
No. Well, that'd be true. Well, good.
I couldn't give a rat's.
Yeah, it really gets the goose pimples running up and down the arms and the hair standing on end and a few other things standing on end. And I tell you what, it's for us in Queensland, it is. It's a great time of the year. As usual, like to claim the underdog tag. Going by the betting, I think we well and truly are. But don't underestimate the cane toad. There's a certain fellow here in this triumvirate of commentators that has an issue with one of the coaches, and he's not the Queensland coach. So work that out for yourselves. Look, I have to agree. I was pleasantly surprised when Loz was named the coach of the Blues. His track record isn't great. He has a weird understanding of rugby league, and like you said, Sharky, both sides are pretty close to the best we could pick. We had a few injuries, but you do what you do with what you got. But yeah, look. Yeah, unless he doesn't bother with them whatsoever and just says, "Look, just play your own game." I can't really see. I can't really. I
limited involvement.
Yeah.
Cut the oranges, Loz.
I do understand where you're coming from, Sharky, and I think most Queenslanders are quite pleased that Loz is in charge of the deal.
No, I was only saying to another member of the panel on Tuesday that I, like everyone else, I think, was surprised that the Lozinger got the call back. But I said to him that, it was a very, very frightful thought at the time, all those years ago when he took over as coach. Yeah, when you started off with the coaches, I thought, what? You're not going to put Billy Slater down, are you? No.
No, I've amped him up.
Concur with everything.
Amped him up, Alfred.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what could possibly go wrong for Queensland?
That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Look, I know he probably doesn't want us to do this, and you're going to be amused and shocked because far be it for me to ever come to the defence of the modern-day player, which I don't normally do, and far be it for me to actually come to the quasi-support, semi-support of a Broncos player. But, yes, the Bronx are in the news again this week.
Go on.
And I know that the club isn't happy with a certain fullback who is injured, not playing at the moment for, well, videoing a little bit of a prank and a little bit of fun and shits and giggles with a best mate by belting him in the head with an inflatable glove or just a
oversized boxing glove.
Now listen,
boxing glove. Yep.
Listen,
yep.
in the serious department,
Yes.
I don't know what the punishment that the club are prepared to hand down. I know that he's had to donate some money to mental health or one of the organisations for the Black Dog Institute or somewhere. He's got to donate some cash to that. Now, in the serious department, boys, look, whether we like it or not, they're a different breed, the modern-day footballer, the young people of today, the current generation of footballer. They do live in a slightly different world of social media excess, and whether or not you think, well, they probably should be a little bit smarter. Look, we've been talking rugby league since 2008, and we know that they're not the smartest books on the shelf. But the world is a little different, and if that is the crime of the year, where the club CEO has to make comment and tell the boy that he must donate some money and, well, make some sort of quasi-apology for having some fun, I have to say I'll come to the defence here of him because I think this is going too far. This is a little too far. I know that they're not winning football games. He's not playing. He's not contributing, and maybe it's not a great look. But they do live in this world of social media, and he's just opened a YouTube channel this week too to showcase his life off the field. I wonder how warm and fuzzy the club are feeling about that this week. What great timing. I don't even see what the real issue is with it. Is it the main issue is that he's not contributing to the football team who haven't won in a month and a half, and so at an irate fans? Bronk, you're the fan. You tell me what's the deal?
Well, it's funny. 24 hours is a quite a short time in the game of this that we play, and I was incredibly irate about the whole dealing yesterday. I sort of, what I heard and what I read was a terrible lot. But in the meantime, thinking about it, it's what once upon a time we used to call tomfoolery. But the problem also lies in the fact that, telephones are involved, videos, etc., etc. You're right, mate. It's not, nobody died in the cause. It was young fellas having fun and enjoying one another's company. But yeah, I don't know. Storming the teacup, yeah, I'm thinking so.
When you can get it for lots of things, but this is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think, if the papers are looking for some headlines, and really and truly, I think that the issue with the West Tigers, with that young Galman, I think that is the one that deserves a lot of play. And somewhere along the line, I mean, he's not going to stop there, but, what are the Tigers supposed to do? Are they supposed to say, right, you can go straight away? It looks like Bullies are quite short price favourites, even though, all the denials in the world don't seem to be working very well. Really and truly, that's a schmozzle.
Yep.
The manager says, we don't want to be here. The manager is the fellow that's held in such high regard around the place. And what he's had 3 kicks in the backside. I don't know. He's running the show, and the kid's being chucked around like a ping pong ball. I think that's the one that's quite serious, and I think that's the one where the NRL should have stepped in instantly, and I think we spoke about that last week or the week before, and really and truly, this is pretty serious shit because there's contracts. We know contracts don't mean the thing nowadays, which is a shame. But boy, oh boy, I think this is in the serious claims. The other episode with Walsh and his mates, really and truly. Look, honestly, it's the full stop in the Gettysburg Address.
Well, in the serious department about the Galvin situation, it's been handled poorly. It's going to play out poorly. He's halfway out the door. I think he's probably played his last game for the Tigers. They will seek compensation, which is code for transfer fee, but it's actually compensation because they'll be making the Dogs or the Eels pay up. They'll have money in the old bank account, but who they go and buy, well, who knows? But you're right. It's an embarrassment. And furthermore, to your point about contracts meaning nothing, well, that's part of the problem. And that's why the NRL better sooner rather than later intervene and get serious about windows and player transfers and contracts meaning something. Otherwise, we've got a big integrity issue in this game.
Too true.
Because players will just be able to get out willy-nilly. Clubs will be able to move them on willy-nilly. And, of course, as per usual, the ones with all the emotional investment and the ones that where the game makes its money from are people watching and supporting it. The fans will always lose out as long as it runs the way it does.
Too true. There's much more, serious things that we need to really take a full grasp of.
Well, you're right. One of the great shining lights in this club's history, apparently, all the forecasts being made, he's been part of their system for a while. He was the great shining light, had a standout season last year. In fact, would have won the Daily M Rookie of the Year had it not been for a indiscretion in one particular game. They reckon he would have won it heads and shoulders. And here he is. The following year, it's 10 rounds of football being played and he's out the door. Now, anyone who tells you that this is okay, kosher, a good look for the game, are kidding themselves. And quite frankly, as we've suggested before, the NRL HQ, the Players Association, and all those that are supposed to be, looking after the integrity of the game and the best interests of the game, which is also looking after the fans. Well, I think that the majority of those involved currently have their heads up their arse. And until they get it pulled out, this will just continue to go on. And that's very bad for the game.
I couldn't agree with you more, mate. It is. It's not a good look whatsoever. No.
Now, yay or nay for this week?
Oh, okay.
The number one segment on the show, unless we're carving up people.
Absolutely.
Right.
Origin players shouldn't be allowed to impose media bans on themselves.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, nay.
Long pause, nay.
I will say nay because of the Origin concept, and I'm pretty sure it's part of their contracts too where they have to make themselves available, but obviously they're going to get away with not doing so. But I'm not really a fan of actually hearing from players as a general rule. I mean, I couldn't care less if I never heard from a player again unless maybe grand final day. That's my personal view, but I don't think they should be allowed, irrespective of my personal view on whether I want to hear from players or not, that they can just opt in or opt out. It's pretty crazy. So we're all in agreement.
I think on every level, your what's-the-name should be your coach, maybe your manager, is the person to speak on their behalf. Have them concentrating on what they're doing. But and I agree wholeheartedly with you again, Bronk. I've got to get out of this circle somehow.
Oh, geez, I'll say.
Drop off the coffees.
But when you get to that higher level, your fans have got a much higher expectation of you. But
well, I think that's the point. That's the point. Now, it should be about the expectation, not about the quality of outcome. So they shouldn't be allowed to opt in or out. You make yourself available. If you're playing for Origin, you're taking the cash. Then if someone wants to ask a question from the bleachers, you answer it. Simple. Yeah. All right, I'm glad we sussed all that out and we've come up with...
solved that problem anyway.
The three-pronged attack.
Wasn't a bad nay answer anyway.
Very good. It was a long one anyway.
It was.
The competition should be put on ice while Origin is played. Much debate.
Yay.
Nay.
I love club football.
Long running argument.
I love club football. I know you blokes love Origin. I'm not of that persuasion, but
I hate split rounds.
maybe we are at a point where if we're going to do things diligently and give Origin its space, maybe the day has come where we probably should, well, show consideration and respect to the competition too, and maybe that does mean Origin, plays in its own arena for a few weeks on end.
Well, can't they somewhere along the line, go 2 weeks? I mean, that's enough. I mean, there's some clubs play 3 and 4 games in 2 bloody weeks, the poor bludgers. So, Origin, the player, they say, oh, it's too tough. No, it's not. That's what they sign up to do. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And it really does cruel the clubs. When some of the clubs that, sure, some of them don't have players playing Origin, but some of the clubs that are playing this weekend have got 4 and 5 players in Origin. I mean, that's not fair on the club. That's not fair on the supporters. It's not fair on the players. It's really, I don't know.
I think it's up for debate. I think we've got to the day where it's generally up for debate.
Yeah, I think so, Sharky. I think the time's come for, sit down and let's talk a bit of sense. Keep Slick and Slick Junior out of the meeting and sit down and have a sensible talk about it. Just it will be this way and that's it. Piss the other pair off.
All righty. The perfect number of weeks for an NRL season proper should be no more than 21 rounds. This allows for everyone playing each other once, plus a few additional double-ups for historical rival matches to get played each year before finals. Because we are going to have a reduced season very shortly. We won't be having the 27 weeks any longer very shortly. That's a guarantee. So it is going to be watered down, but I'm hearing they're just going to play each other once and that'll be it. Now, I don't think that's quite enough.
Well, that's not even a proper round.
No, and that's what they're predicting. That's what they'll do. So I don't think that's quite enough.
How is it? And, I'd like to get a rough idea. Why is it that the AFL can have a home and away series, we can't? And yet, well, I know we're going to finish up with 50 teams playing eventually, but, that'll be one a week. But they seem to be able to do it, and we seem to have difficulty doing it.
Well, the short answer to that is that we've got the media types led in certain quarters who have suggested to the NRL that the season currently is way too long. Representative football should have its own arena and windows, and the competition should be delayed. And when the extra 2 teams come in, and potentially there will be a third, making a 20-team competition, then the NRL will then make the decision to basically let everyone play each other once and then play finals, rep football, blah, 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 blah. But you're right. Look, they could do it. There's no reason why we couldn't have a home and away system. But I think it's because certain people in the media have banged on so long about the fact that the season's too long as it is now that we'll never see that day come.
Because we have number one is we have a dumbass pre-season. They call it some sort of a competition.
A challenge, and it is a challenge to watch it.
The challenge, a challenge to watch, absolutely. There's a couple of weeks. So, no, I don't know. To me, it's a grossly unfair system of, a full round is fine, but then who makes the choices as to, South Sydney, St. George and Brisbane, Townsville or something. Yep. And who gets to make those choices, and does that apply year in, year out? The fans want the game. I mean, what are we up against? Sheffield Shield cricket, who most people don't even know what it means anymore. So we're up against nothing in the summer.
Well, I actually think that the NRL see the current 27 weeks of the season proper as some sort of compromise between what they'd probably ideally like to have, which is a true home and away season without, ever actually doing it, and having the season too short. And, of course, when we talk about how many rounds of football we get, then they always lead with their wallets and the money about how much money the game can generate. And it's partly about the broadcast deal as well, which is another reason why we currently play 27 weeks and not perhaps 17. Alfie, what's the perfect number here? It's I tell you what, this is a fair debate too. This could be a podcast all of its own, and it's about the future of the game.
Without a doubt. Yeah, absolutely. And I think
it perfectly could be and maybe should be. But yes, I was waiting for someone to come up with that 4-letter word, fans. F-A-N, 4-letter word. The game is all about fans. The fans see the excitement. The fans want the excitement. The fans don't want to be going away and not have a game in their own backyard, in their own paddock for a whole season. Yeah, this is ridiculous. And having teams play each other excessively in different times of the year. But it should be a straightforward, how many of a clubs you've got, how many of a teams you've got. It's a home and away situation. You mentioned it, Sharky, and that's all I have ever thought that it could be or should be. Definitely should be a home and away on every situation. As you said earlier, Bronchi, the way they're going would be playing a whole year, so long as someone's got $1 million to give to NRL so they can join the system, which is absolutely absurd. It brings the game back to nothing but a money bag, a collection point, and that's where it shouldn't be. It should be giving back to the loyal fans. And I don't know, modern day fans don't seem to jump up and down about not being able to wander off on the weekend and have a look at their local team playing somewhere. But that is what it's all about. And that's what it should be, is, to my way of thinking, home and away.
Instead of the Players Association driving how much their members could possibly fit into a football season and their welfare, and the game itself worrying about what sort of broadcast deal they can do, you've made a very good point there. Let's perhaps engage the fans and seek what sort of appetite they have and what they can absorb throughout 365 days of the year in terms of how many games they're prepared to support. And I'm pretty sure that, well, at least a majority of fans, over 50%, would say that they want a proper home and away season.
Yeah.
There you go, yay or nay.
Yeah, good.
Thursday night football, round 12, a semi-round of football, of course. We've got this weekend the Broncos, Cowboys, Dragons, Rabbitohs, Storm, Titans and Tigers all having the bye. Thursday night footy, 7:50 p.m, Accor Stadium tonight. Local time, $1.36 the Dogs, favourites against the Dolphins at $3.16 at KO Fox and Beasting.
Go with the head, mate.
I know they don't travel that well, but gee, the Dogs are missing a few. I'm going to go for the Dolphins.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was going for the Doggies. I'll stick with the Doggies.
I think this will be the real test of the Dogs' so-called culture, and I think they might get the Chockies. Dogs. Friday football at CommBank. It's the Eels up against the Sea Eagles. $2.83 the Eels. Favourites $1.43 the Sea Eagles. This at 8 p.m. KO Fox and Beasting TV.
Eagles haven't got a very good record over there, have they, over at the paddock? Although they're missing Moses, but they've got the $1 million man, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
You little ripper, Sea Eagles. Hate them.
Whom I don't think is playing as good as the team think he is, and other people. The Eagles missing a lot, aren't they? Sea eagles, the birds dive deep and grab fish eels out of the water and eat them. I'm hoping they don't on this occasion. Let's go for the culture of the Slipperies.
I'd like to take the Eels, but we've seen them without Moses and they look pretty ordinary. They just struggle without him. So based on that, I'll say Eagle Rock. We've got a mini version of Super Saturday We're off to Bathurst on Saturday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. Not for the Dogs, but for a football game. It's the Pennies up against the 90s. $1.50 plays $2.61. 5:30 p.m. KO and Fox.
I shouldn't be real cool at Bathurst at 5:30 in the Saturday afternoon.
No.
I think it might be a little bit on the fresh side. Oh, golly.
Open plains.
Look, irrespective of what, no Ponga, no win. Pennies, even though they've lost a bucketful.
90s.
Ooh. Pennies are missing a few, but I think they'll add to the night's sorrow, unfortunately. Panthers. The other Saturday game, we're at Gosford at Intrustee Group Stadium. It's the Roosters at home to the Sharks. $3.40 plays $1.32. This at 7:35 p.m. KO and Foxtel.
Bank tellers special this week, Sharkies.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the way they went last week. Yes, Sharkies. Uh-oh.
You got to do it.
You want me to go to the Roosters?
You really got to do it because the Roosters have got nothing. Seriously, mate.
Roosters!
Yeah, good on you. Yeah, you
Roosters.
weak prick.
Sunday football.
Yeah.
Safely. Uh-oh.
Sunday football. How dare you call me that? You called me worse, fair enough. 4:05 p.m. Land Shoes are nice Vovos. You know the deal. Beasting TV, KO and Fox.
God.
It's the Warriors at Go Media Stadium in Auckland, $1.80. Favourites against the Raiders at $2.05.
At home, Bronk.
Oh, God, yeah, but they've lost nothing, really. Warriors.
Yeah, hard to go against the Raiders, but yeah, Warriors, and I'm thinking at home. So, yep, Warriors.
Warriors at home. There you go.
Hooray.
A Fat Batch production.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.